So today I'm going to demonstrate how to work with the Live2D modeler. All right, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm not going to teach all the details. I'm not going to translate everything from the Japanese tutorial. I'm going to show you what the basic thing you need to know, because the basic question is how to make one thing move. All right, so I'm going to do this quickly. I'm starting with this source material that you prepared. You know, this, the material that you're going to work on. Right? You need the full JPEG picture for one reason. Right? You say like you start with a new file, drag and drop that JPEG over, and you see this image setting. Just click on the first one. Don't worry about anything else. Press OK, and there you go. Here is your transparent sketch image for your reference. All right. So you paste little bits and parts on top of this and make sure you put them in the right position. First thing, lock this layer so that you won't click on it or move it by accident. All right. Secondly, you want to start inserting little bits and parts by clicking on the right folder and press edit texture. I haven't done this for a long while, so I don't remember half of the stuff, so I may not know what I'm doing. Hopefully it still works the same. All right. Yes and no. By the way, I used to work with the 30 days trial version of the Pro version. All right, so there has been less restrictions. There was no there's much higher. It allows you work on more than one source material plate, which helps a lot. You will find that necessary soon as you get used to the basic functions. But anyways, the trial version is over for me, so I have to go with the free version. All right. Okay, so here we are. Define the anchor points. I'm gonna work with the eyeball. All right. So I'm just gonna wrap around it like this, real quick. Press OK, and there you go. In the corner that allows you to drag it over and put it right on top where you have to. Now, if you find yourself screwing up this step a lot, I'll show you how. It's really easy. All right, do it again. Edit texture, and I'm gonna do a can I do it on layer? I'm gonna do it the right eye. Okay, this time I'm gonna make a big mistake. Anchor points, right? And say I'm gonna do it a little more complicated than this. Right? I'm just gonna have more refined mini points, which all you have to do it eventually, right? There. Oops. Oh, I misclicked and I put the point a little bit off from where I wanted to. Now my biggest mistake is that I drag this point. All right. I thought I'd put it here, it would be the same. I'm gonna finish up this. It doesn't even let you. But let's say somehow you managed to squeeze it through, all right? And you thought everything would be the same. But everything is already different because you drag these points a little bit, you press OK, and you will get yourself a completely deformed material. That's why, as I saw it in the Japanese tutorial, you're not supposed to do this. You'll never drag any points when you're trying to define the materials, little parts. All right, and I got the eyeball, and I also want the eyelid to work with. This time I click on eye layer. The reason why you click on it is because on the point at the moment when you make the texture, it's already in the category. And the reason why you need to put them in the right category, other than organizing it easier for yourself, some of the pre-written scripts for some basic animations like eye blinking, breathing, or whatever, right? They will call they will call specific categories to move. So if you put the eyes in the nose category and put your nose in the eye category, and then you say, hey, try to help me, try to load this automatically blinking script, all right? And then your nose will keep blinking, and that is horrible because no one blinks nose. What was it? I was doing the eyelid, all right? There you go. Real quick. I'm not gonna deal with it for now. And I put it right here, and I'm sure you are desperate to know how to move one single thing. All right, I'm gonna show you the magic. The magic to move one single thing is you need to define where it starts and where it ends. And I mean the motion that you're about to define. So look at this. I'm gonna make this eyeball. I'm gonna make the eyelid move. All right, and I'm talking about using the eye right open perimeter, and I want to be moving this little dot here, and I want when I'm moving this, I'm gonna be opening and closing my eyelids. All right. First, click on eye are open. You got your perimeters, and you see this bar here, and it says 0, 0.5, and 1. It's an easy guess. You need to define what is 1 and what is 0.00. All right. So you click on these points. You see the two values defined, and these would be the sort of I don't know what the right word for it would be, but I would say it's a key point. All right, 0.00 would probably means that the eye is closed, and 1 is when it's fully open. So I define these points. Press OK. Now you see two bright green dots, and that means you can start working on it. All right. Even you made it for the first time for the eyeball, and then you work on the eyelid next. When you click on the eyelid, you will see no green light because eyelid also needs you to define what it has to do. You need to get the first initiate command, which is to also click on 2 points and say, hey, eyelid, you also need to work on these 2 points. One is the beginning, one is the end. All right. And also, sometimes the next step, you might get confused because sometimes you would see, hey, how come all the dots supposed to be red and I can click on them, I can move them? Why is it all gray now? It's because your current moment, your red dot here, is not on any key point. Once you drag it to the far right, you would see the red box and these white dots that you can click on and you can move around. But if it's slightly off, you can't. You can't. And even if you have, say, like 3 points, all right, it's more obvious. If I'm on a point, I get to control things. If I'm off, then no, not at all. All right. Now let's delete this point here and make sure you don't get confused. An easy way to make sure you're right on the point is to right click the green dots, and it will automatically magnet right on top of it to make sure you can start working on it. All right. So you select the eyelid. When you're working on it, first thing you check is the draw order. Your eyeball, I'm selecting the eyeball, right? The eyeball says the draw order is 600. And when I click on the eyelid, it's 600 as well. You want to make sure the eyelid is covering the eyeball all the time. You have to make sure it's on top of it. Just +1 and make it the draw order 601, and which means bigger than the eyeball, and which means it will always be on top of the eyeball or anything under 601. So it's sort of like the, what do you call, the Z index. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is to make sure this, you want to tell the eyelid what it does when it's fully open and what it does when fully closed. Fully open is by default whatever it already is, so you don't need to, you can ignore this part. You just need to work on the closed one, the closed point. But why isn't it, did I mess it up? Oh, okay. Here's a stupid mistake. Just now, I defined the eyelid as 601. But I was on the green point on the right side. And as soon as I shift to the left side, it turns to 600 again. That's why the order of working things, you should be defining the draw order first before you even define these green points. But anyways, if you miss that out, just drag it to the left side and say +1 as well. So there's still change between these two ends. Now, when I'm holding on the left point, it's still covering the eyeball, which is exactly what I need to do. So I was trying to define what the final position is, which is around this area. I want it to be a little bit of a upward curve. All right. So the manual way to do it, all right, is to draw these anchor points. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Let's say probably here. There is no absolute rule in how to do this. I tried to work with too few of these and it's a problem, and I had one too many of these and it was also a problem. And so from experience you would realize what is the most comfortable for you. If you're curious what these blue lines are doing over a face, they are suggesting linking up 2 points and make sure every area is composed of a triangle other than anything more than a triangle. It's because, 3D likes to work with polygons, and polygons likes triangle the most. It's a fetish. Who knows why? Actually, I'm sure that you know why, but I don't. If you did any mistake, Ctrl Z to undo this. Do not drag any point. I like to do it the little zigzag way. I don't know why, but I saw it in demonstration and it works for me. There you go. I see no blue lines here, which means that I have fully defined these into triangles. And if you do have an open area, it will still work. But as soon as you start to drag the points outside, and when you try to reform it, it would mess you up real big. So sometimes if you keep dragging the points and it doesn't work the way you think it would, and you should come back and check if you have left out any areas that isn't made of triangles. Okay, there you go. Now I can drag individual points and reform the whole eyelash or eyelid into the shape I want, all right? Which is kind of tricky and it's scary. There are multiple ways to do this. If you don't want to drag them point by point, you can use the lasso tool and select sort of a general area of points. This tool will also select dots from other layers. So when you're working with this tool, you should be locking up all the layers other than the one you want to work on. All right. Now you get the red dots here. When you're moving all the red dots. So that's one way to work on stuff. The other way is to use this soft spray. There should be a way to resize it, but I never figured out what the hotkey is. But I don't even work on this too often. I'm just holding down a left click here, and as you can see, I'm making red dots gradually from the center to the peripheral, and you can see these are lighter color than the center one, and that means that there's a difference in pressure. All right, as you move these red dots, the lighter color ones would move less than the solid color ones. You see I'm also moving the eyeballs because this tool also works with all layers, and I should lock it up. Alright, so now I will show you the third tool, which is the pen tool. This should work with what we need to do right now the best. But sometimes it doesn't do its job, and I'm not so sure why. But let's give it a try. Alright, we follow the original curve, and now we're gonna change it to the way we want. What do I want? I want this to be down, down, up, and it's kind of scary, and it should work out. You get the idea. Alright, it's not the best. It's not gonna be prettiest thing ever. Oops. But it would give a general idea. Probably if you do it right, it would look really good. So some experience might refine the skill. But that's all I need. I can delete the curve and make sure that I want the eyelash in the right spot. All right. I can do some minor fine tuning. Give a little bit more smoother curve. Let's say about like this. Alright, and it's a complete disaster in this skin area. Maybe some of the points are messed up. I'll say this. Now it looks a little bit better. I didn't do a really good job in cutting out these little parts, and you shouldn't. I should not have included these white. The skin area along. I should have them separated. So I should have one layer of just the eyelash. I have one layer of just this eyelid skin, and one layer of the eyeball. But I'm taking a shortcut right now. So zoom out. It's a little bit too wide. I can do this. Right? So, okay. What we have right now is a finished or a closed eyelid, and we're on the far left point here on the green light, and we define what it's like when it's closed. We already defined what it's like when it's open. Now the trick is done. Drag and slowly move to the position that you want it to go. That's probably all you have to need. That's probably the most desperate thing you want to know. So here I am showing this how to do this. The rest of the video I would show you a little bit more steps to work on the eyeball and so that it follows along with the eyelid. If you don't want to learn a part, then skip ahead and I'll see you next time. Otherwise you can sit around and I'll show a little bit more. Alright? So let's work on the eyeball as well. Lock the eyelid, unlock the eyeball, click on it. Alright? What happened now is that I already define the two green dots here, and even if I'm selecting the eyeball, when I'm shifting along the bar, it's affecting the eyelid. It's because this bar will always universally affect everything that's already defined that works along this line. Alright, so you've got the eyeball 2 points. You need to define what it's like when it's finished closing its eye. Let's say, how about squinting it like this, and maybe I'll hide up the little corners and make sure it doesn't come out. Let's see how it works. See? Blinking. And let's put away the sketch layer and just see the eye. See? Blinking. And this is half open. If you want, you don't want to have just 2 points. You can have the midpoint here, 3 point, right? Once you add the third point, it will still apply or automatically interpret itself as the position when everything is when it's in the middle. So you already have this midpoint, all right? So if you like, the midpoint will be defined as the expression when the character is half open, her eyes, maybe she's sleepy or she's flirting or whatever, right? You can always add point, and points, you can add as many points as you want, and it will do the same job. I can teach you, I'm not going to mention, well, there are little tricks here and there, but I'm not going to mention all of them. I'm going to skip ahead and show you how to use the deformer, because deformer is also a major part of working with Live2D. I don't even know how to say, because honestly, you can work with the whole animation without a deformer completely. Well, yes, but for bigger expression changes, for say like changing the face, turning its head left or right, up and down, you want to define a deformer instead of each part defining them, how it has to shift to next position, but also have to define its open, close, angry, smile, whatever, right? Because, how do I say this? How about I just do it for you, all right? I'm just gonna go here, face, and I'm gonna add a face to it. Yes, I know. Here you go, face, there. All right, put the face on. How should I do this? I have the face, and yeah, I'm gonna do the angle X, which is meant to be turning the head left and right. All right. Instead of defining a face, we're gonna put on a deformer. Never mind. All right, we're gonna make a deformer. Okay. Click on the face layer, because I want this deformer to be a face deformer. You figure out later, but I'm gonna put it as a face deformer. Click on the face, create deformer. The default one is pretty good for you to use for a long while until you're done with all the basics. So use the curved surface. Rotation is for something. It's just a middle bar that you can swing it like a pendulum. And what we need right now is a curved surface. Right? Wow, that's big. You don't need the whole area, and you don't want the whole area to be covered, because deformers work this way. If you have a parent and child relationship between two deformers, so one deformer is the body and the other deformer is the face, then obviously what you mean is when your body moves or turns to another side, your face will also turn. Which means that if you have, well, the rule is, if you have the child deformer, which is the face deformer, and the parent, which is the body deformer, the face has to be smaller than the parent. If you make a face deformer that exceeds the border of the body or any parent, it would mess up. So do not have excessive space, and yes, that's a general rule. Do not have do not be greedy and take all the space for each deformer. Just have it constrained in the area that you need, and right now it is the face. Do I want it to cover the hair? Oh, it's a tricky one. Do I want the face to cover the hair? Probably yes. Unless I make another one for hair, and it has to be. Yeah, yeah, you should cover the hair. Yes, you should. At least the front hair. So it includes the side area, not the tails though, because that's a different one. It should follow the body or on its own. But the face deformer, you want to cover the hair as well. So we got a face deformer. All right. If you want to select deformer, change it to the deformer tool, because if you have the pointer, you'll be touching around the eye, the face, the materials, and you never touch the deformer. All right. You got the deformer. You will see these little blue dots here, and that's what promises you that you are working on a deformer, because usually you don't see them. And you move the deformer around, it doesn't affect anything at all. Even if you define the angle X, move it around, it wouldn't affect anything, because the deformer doesn't hold any material. You need to tell the file that, hey, your the face skin layer JPEG, this one, hey, you gotta follow the face unselected texture curve, whatever. You have to follow the deformer. All right. Now that was done wrong because I'm using the deformer tool and I click on the face and it doesn't apply anything. All right, do this again. I want a face. I'm selecting the face, and I want to. You see the part? I'm using the face, right? This is the ID. It's not. This is what I want, and I'm going to change it to the face deformer. Now, the deformer. Oh, oops. Now deformer. Hey, deformer affects the face. You also want the eye and the eyeball to follow the face deformer. This one, this one. Now, when you're moving deformer, you're moving everything, all the child layers. No matter it's deformer or material, it'll move it. All right. You can also change the shape and it'll move everything. That is deformer. Why do you have this instead of controlling each of them in the refined movement? Is because it probably is a lot more convenient only when you are comfortable of using it. So you might find it a lot of hassle and you want to skip all deformers. But I've tried my first experimental project without deformers, and it was unbearable at the close to the end point. All right, so get used to deformer. All right, get used to it. It's good for you. It does have a little bit of a soft curve touch to the deforming, if you know what I mean. What am I doing? I'm gonna define the X angle, 3 points. All right. This time you don't see 0, 0.5, and 1. This time you see -30 and 30. It's because for angle X, which is meant for the face to turn left and right, 0 means center, and -30 and +30 means what angle you're at. -30 angle to the, which should be 30 angles to the left, and 30 angles to the right, and that's what it's meant to be. All right. You get 3 points. All right. Now all 3 points are the same. What am I? Is this a deformer? Is what was that? Okay, so I define the deformer's parameters. All right, the green light only it's on when I'm selecting a deformer. All right, I want the endpoint of -30 to be looking to the left side. I'm gonna move slightly here. I'm gonna drag this point a little bit, drag this point a little bit. Probably not too much of this. Honestly, don't be too greedy when you're turning these angles. Not when you're first touching it. It's gonna be a lot of trouble to do the fine touch. So it might not look a lot, but a small little touch already does a lot difference, and you'll see when it's completely done. Not right now. It doesn't seem like it's working too good, but it will, trust me. All right, left side here, and let's go to the right side. Let's do it to the right side. Move here, move here, and move here. I want this. You see, the middle point, there's an anchor point behind this little red dot, and I need to control that. And I'm trying to, it doesn't let me. Why? Alright. Why don't you let me change this point? Okay, there you go. That's probably too much. It's probably too much. That's good, alright? So, turn off that sketch layer. Look at Deformer. Now there you go. Left, right, left, right. It doesn't look like it's doing a lot. That's because we only have one eye and no hair and nothing, right? But trust me, when you get everything on, when you get everything defined, this is good enough for left and right. And if you look at the demonstration video, the Japanese one, you will see it's not these little bars. You'll see a sort of a 9-point grid to work around with. It's because you just need to click this little blue box here, and you got yourself a, well, it's not really what it was because you still need to define the y axis. Let's try. Let's go back to the deformer. Let's do the angle y as well. 3-point. Okay. Now press the blue box. Oops. Press the blue box. There you go. There you go. All right. Deformer, 9 points. Because you got the x, you got a y. Each of them has 3 points, and now you got 9 points. You can work around this. Now y isn't moving up and down, and obviously because you haven't defined up and down. Do up a little bit. I need to sketch to make sure I know how much I'm moving. Up a little bit. Maybe this much of the deforming. And downside. Downwards. Center point, give it to me. Please. Please. There you go. Down. Down, down. Maybe slim it up a little bit because of the angle, and maybe the forehead would stretch a little bit because of, you know, the perspective. There you go. Up, down, left, right. But the corner isn't quite working, and if you give it a click on the corners, right, they're all the same. Doesn't, like, well, it's not really doing its job right. It's because supposedly you also need to define these 4 diagonal corners, which I'm gonna do real quick. Can I do this? I'm just gonna do a lousy job, but you know, just for demonstration. Left click that point, and then right click this green dot and move it here. And now, well, that's more of a, you feel that? It's more of a, you know, a circle. That's how you do the face. And, let me see what else. The lips is tricky. Maybe I'll do it in a different, video if there's really a need for that, all right? If you can't figure out the lips, maybe I'll do it. And otherwise, don't worry about the hair. Don't worry about the hair too much for now, because if you go to the Live2D viewer, you will see there's a pre-written script for hair movement, and it does a lot of job. Well, I'll show you right away, okay? So you in order for exporting this file to a I'm just gonna skip this now, right? No, I'm gonna skip ahead to the viewer. What is this? This is the animator. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about this now. Go to the viewer. All right. This is probably the file. Yes. So if you have the MOC file, all right, you see this is already fully done, but it doesn't feel like it's as lively as it should be. But there's a lot of tricks you can do with this. All right. First of all, click on animation, auto eye blink. Check it up, and it should blink eye. Yep, there you go. It would blink once in a while on its own. All right. And also try the idle motion and the breathing, and then go to File, Sample, and at the motion idle. Okay. At the also at the hair physics. Now, you would see a lot more difference. It is breathing on its own, it blinks, and you can add those lip sync whatever function that would follow your mic speaking. Let me give it a try. File, add lip sync, and it should be right here. Do the mic, and now as I speak, the character will speak along. All right. How do you add the music files or the wave sound files, sorry, to speak? To do that, you need to use the animator, but you need the paid version, because the free one doesn't allow you to export the doesn't allow you to export the motion data. So let's have a quick look. All right, I got the original character, I got the sound file, and I'm gonna turn down the volume a little bit so it doesn't blast. Play.
私はショコラと言います。よろしくお願いします。私はショコラと言います。よろしくお願いします。
So I got this working. All right, I make the sound. I tell it to auto lip sync to follow the audio, and I add a little bit of blinking, the face, or whatever. And this is a whole 4 seconds of animation script. All right, so whenever it speaks that line, it would also follow up and do some animations, and you can export them individually as motion data and then work it with the viewer and play with a lot of things. The problem is that once you don't have the pro version, you cannot do this. You see? So not you. So that's as much as a free tester can do. If you really have the next month secured a lot of time to play with things, I would tell you to totally go for the pro version. Get the trial and spend 30 days and touch around and learn the basics. All right. Let me see if there's anything I want to mention. Not really. You can message me if you want to learn anything more. Tell you as much. Oh, by the way, go to the official website, and there's this sample data on the left menu. All right, and there are a bunch of samples you can play around with, And if you are having trouble learning basics, I would tell you to totally download a few of them to try. I played with this one, and it taught me most of the basics I have to know. So give it a try. Download the model data, download the expression if you want to play with the viewer. Yeah, give it a touch and you'll probably understand the basics. So if you got any question, ask me, leave a message down below, and yeah, otherwise I probably wouldn't upload anything new until someone requested something. All right, so see you guys next time.